I'm gonna, okay, this is, oh, no, that was the first one. Let me see here. Oh, I don't know if they registered. Well, they would have registered, but they're not in the thing yet. Damn. Okay, so this is what I want you guys to do. For those of you that asked Super Chats that were not answered by me, highlight my name, put an @Dave McRae, and ask the question again, and I will answer it, okay? So don't feel you have to send in another thing, because that's, I don't know what the heck happened there. Very strange, very strange. Usually I don't have any issues, but very strange. Anyway, so as I was saying about Brackett, I was talking about Brackett. It was so funny because he didn't understand how the internet worked, and he thought, he was like, so it's going to be on the internet? He kind of sounded like, Yosemite Sam. I'm like, yeah, it's going to be. He's like, where? I'm like, well, just kind of everywhere. It's going to be on the, it's going to be on the internet in Toronto. And I'm like, no, it's going to be on the internet, everywhere. And his handler, the girl he was with, is laughing, going, no, Charles, means online, just means, for everybody to see. And he didn't want to. So he was like, I'm retired now. I don't really want to do it. He just kind of sounded, I'm doing the cartoon version of that, obviously. But that's why I decided to do that impression of him in the video. Eric Kozlov, @Dave McRae, would you consider doing your movie was a full cast audio drama? I would contribute to that Kickstarter. Well, maybe I would. That it would take a lot of work, but to take my concept idea and make it as an actual full length, almost audio book, almost with sound effects and different actors playing the roles and maybe me doing the narration. Maybe I would. Let's see here. Turbo Man, @Dave McRae. What are your top 3 Halloween movies if you get back to me? Top 3 Halloween movies. Halloween 1, 2, and probably 4 is what I would say. And then maybe the 2018 film. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, good. Some more people have entered the chat again. That's good. I hate that. Sorry for all you Americans up here in Canada. We say sorry. Down there you say sorry. I apologize for the OBS kicking me off, but I did warn you at the beginning of the stream that it might do that, and it usually does it about 45 minutes into the stream. It's so fucking weird. I just don't get it. So if it does it again, stick around, because I will be back. Franklin Stein says, @Dave McRae, are you allowed to make it like an audiobook because if people pay you for it, isn't that copyright problem that can get you sued? Yes, it can be. But here's the thing, is that you cannot raise money necessarily for intellectual property, or because of the intellectual property. But some IPs are a little more lenient than others, right? A lot of people have had issues with the Star Trek and Star Wars. Halloween, on the other hand, or Friday the 13th, I mean, Never Hike Alone was not an out-of-pocket expense. They raised money for that. They've even sold DVDs and Blu-rays. They're making money from that. So, and I would imagine that people got paid to work on that film. I would imagine, though, although I certainly don't want to speak for Vincent DeSante. But some people think it's free marketing, and it's okay. As long as you're not making a multi-million-dollar picture and making millions of dollars off of it, if you recoup the cost you spent to, some people turn their heads and are like, it's okay. I see now everybody is highlighting my name. It was just for the super chats, people. Let's see here. Oh, here's a super chat. Howard D, thank you. What if Ben Tramer is Karen's father? That would be kind of interesting. I don't know if it would work in my idea. Maybe for the Halloween Kills idea, maybe. That might be interesting. For that. Mark McCatherine says, I love the concept. I could see everything play out in my head. Just picturing it gives me goosebumps. Yeah. It was a lot of fun to do. And like I said, there's a lot of details that I didn't even go into. Let's see here. Ba-dum-ba. Dustin Pritchard says, yes, Dave, do a voiceover version of the concept. Yeah, it would take a bit to do. It would take a lot to do, but I would have a ball putting it together. But to do it right, to do it the way that I would like to do it, it would be a full cinematic experience just through audio. A full cinematic experience. Thunder, lightning, rain, all the sound effects, breathing, panting, running from door to door, like woo, the whole thing. I could do it, but it would take a while. And maybe I will do it. Maybe I still will do it. Let's see here. Frank Riker, thank you, Frank. Much appreciated. Here's a super chat to get back on track. Appreciate it, buddy. Proud Saiyan Prince says, Saiyan Prince, what is the tallest and shortest an actor can play to be Michael Myers in your opinion? Well, the tallest, look, it all depends. It all depends. If you're in the Rob Zombie universe, you can be 6'8". If you're in this universe, though, I think I wouldn't go any taller than James Jude Courtney. I mean, James Jude Courtney's 6'3". So I wouldn't go any taller than that. Short, you're looking at like 5'9", 5'10", probably. You know what I mean? So I think that's because Nick Castle was 5'10", and he might even be like 5'9" now, because as you age, you get a little smaller, right? So, but he wasn't a big guy. And Dick Warlock was 5'9". That's why he had like those lifts in his boots. You can clearly see them. His jumpsuit is too short for him, right? So now it adds to the aesthetic, I guess, I guess who's to say that he was the same size as the mechanic? It's like, oh, okay, but he was in the first movie. But Dick Warlock is 5'9", and he's not 5'9" anymore. I can tell you that. He's like maybe 5'7" or 8. He's a lot smaller than he used to be. So, but I would say, yeah, as Travis says there, I'd say 5'10" to 6'3". Yeah, that's the ballpark. I mean, if you're 5'8", you can put a thing in, you become 5'9" or 10, not a big deal. But certainly nobody who's 5'5" and, 7 feet tall. Okay, so I want to... Okay, there we go. Daniel Seeley says, your sequel concept gave me chills. Awesome. It's Aiden says, an audio drama would be perfect. I agree. I think it would be really cool. Emmett Byrne, am I saying that right? Watching from Ireland, following you since you had 2,000 subs. Awesome. What would happen if you somehow got involved in any of the two movies? Well, I don't know. It depends on what capacity they were to bring me on. I would... I mean, look, I would love to direct it, but I don't have a feature-length film under my belt, so they would never do that. They would never trust me to do that. And that's why it's so important to continue to make the short films I do, right? So you have a proof of what kind of a director you are. And the more money you have to make a movie, the better it's going to look and feel because you have the resources to do it. But I would settle at this point in the game in terms of my filmmaking career. I mean, I would settle with just having a part in the movie. I think that would be fun. It would be hard for me to keep my mouth shut, though. Yeah, you're not doing it right. No, I would. Obviously, I would. I mean, I know how to act in a professional capacity. But that'd be a lot of fun. It'd be a lot of fun to have a role in Halloween Kills. Maybe get killed by Michael. That'd be a lot of fun. I'd be down for that. But in terms of my vision, yeah, I would have to have creative control on it. Because there's a specific... like as I said at the beginning of the stream, there's a very specific thing that I did. And I think one of the reasons why... I don't want to speak for anybody, but when I asked earlier in the stream who understood and got the symbolism of what I was doing with the Sandy character without having to watch the explained video, a lot of you guys went, me, hand here, hand here, hand here. I think even though you may not be aware of it, although I'm sure a lot of you are smart enough to be aware of it, of course, that's one of the reasons why you probably liked my concept a lot. Not the fact that Sandy was being used to bait Michael, but how it felt like there was this connection, right? Like we were going back and completing the circle, completing the arc, especially when you understand the different layers. Halloween films horror films of this type don't generally have that. And when you introduce that, you elevate the entire picture. And because Michael Myers has always been a character full of ambiguity and anonymity and mystique, and you can add those layers in there and it doesn't feel weird or out of place. You add those layers in a Friday the 13th movie with Jason and it feels weird. And the reason why it feels weird is because we already know his backstory. We know that he's nothing more than just a kid that, like, we know that really there is nothing more than him just being a freak of nature. He's literally natural. He's a kid that just came back and he's getting revenge for his mother over and over and over and over and over and over and over. We know that. Freddy, you know, we know his backstory. But Michael, you can add a philosophical layer to it and it actually helps, you know, and it brings there's a majestic sort of poetry to the ending that actually there was somebody that messaged me. I forget her name. Or maybe it was in the comments section. Maybe she's watching now. Now, I don't know if she was being literal about it or if she was just being figurative about it because just using this to make a point. But she said that the concept, the ending, made her tear up. And I'm like, it made you tear up. I didn't talk to her, but that's what I'm thinking. And that's good. That's important. And it probably had that emotional effect on her because you realize that, oh my God, this really is the end, you know, and it's all coming together. So it was a lot of fun to, you know, because there are people that say it's impossible to kill the boogeyman. Well, yes, I agree. But the story has to end somewhere. The story has to end somewhere. And if you end it this way, with that little bit of doubt, I think everybody would be happy. I really do. I really do. I think even the hardcore fans that want Michael to go on and on and on would be happy, would go, okay, that's a nice ending to that version, to that, you know, yes. Maybe I'm a little biased, but I'd like to think. Maybe I'm putting too much faith into people. Okay, let's see here. PC Pierce at Dave McRae. Do you think Brackett and Doyle should acknowledge having been approached by the pod? Do you think Brackett and Doyle should acknowledge having been approached by the podcasters earlier that day? Oh, if it's knowledge they haven't had. I'd be okay with that. That'd be kind of cool. Well, maybe Brackett, maybe not Tommy. You see, I like the Tommy character I have a sort of on a very loose level, kind of like what the characters are in It Chapter 2, right? The adults have suppressed all of that. Some people say that it's it itself that is causing them to suppress it. It could be that, but it's also probably when you experience a certain level of trauma, you tend to suppress it. And it's been 27 years and they've suppressed those horrific memories, but it's still there in their subconscious, which is why it comes out, right? In these horrific memories. Tommy Doyle on some level was kind of how I was playing that character. It's not that he's literally forgotten about it. If Laurie was verbatim about it and talked to him about it, he'd remember. He even mentioned, a bit of it in the opening of my concept, but he wasn't cluing in that Laurie had been brought in because of Michael Myers. He wasn't cluing in that Laurie was basically saying, it's fucking back, Tommy. He wasn't cluing in, and that's what she had to do. She had to get him to remember, to remember and to think, to search your feelings, it to be true, that kind of thing. So for the podcasters to have visited Tommy earlier that day, he would already know, potentially, right? Or at least he'd have Michael Myers on the brain. So, but visiting Brackett, I think, would be cool. That would be kind of cool. Okay, couple of super chats here. I don't want to miss these. Frank Riker, thank you, Frank. Frank, Dave, every Halloween had Dr. Loomis or some sort of doctor in it. Does Brackett take that place? In some ways, yes, but Brackett... And again, I say this because it's so important. There's a lot of details in my concept that I didn't even dive into. There's a lot of scenes with Brackett and Laurie and Tommy that could happen that make it feel more fulfilled, right? So yeah, there's probably some great moments. He's not the doctor in this scene, but he's definitely one of those people that is connected to the OG. He gets it. He understands it. He's just another character that complements the seriousness and the severity of the situation that's going on. And who here even though I mentioned it, I want to know this too. Even though I mentioned it actually in my concept, who here started to clue in? I want to know, because this will be fun. Even though you guys could always lie, but I trust you guys. I think you guys are awesome. Who here was able to clue in that when the rampage began to happen at the news channel and at the police station, that it was almost the fulfilling, foreshadowing of what Brackett talked about in the original Halloween? Another connection, right? You're telling me they're lined up for a slaughterhouse. They could be. And then going through all the houses as well, right? Who here, before I mentioned it, when I started to paint that picture going that way, I was connecting to Brackett again, right? And maybe there's a moment in there where he even mentions it, right? Or something like that. It's great to see that. It's great to see that. And again, there's no gratuitous violence in my film. There would be no blood all over the place and a bunch of gore and shit like that. You're just seeing the end result of things, and it's eerie and frightening. It's like, what the hell, right? And that adds to the impending, what are we dealing with here? Oh my God. Now, that again, do you see some kills happen? Of course you do. But the massacre at the police station and the massacre at the network, and again, they're not it's not like 150 people were killed. They're small time stations, right? But it's frightening. It's really eerie. It's great to see that people thought of that. Again, that's another connection, right? It's that OG where it's like, this is the slaughterhouse coming true. Let's see here. Franklin Stein says, I thought you were taking inspiration from the first Terminator. No. I don't know if you're being sarcastic or not, but no, absolutely not. Connecting to the OG, baby. Let's go back here. There's quite a few super chats that came in. You guys are amazing. Okay. Mike Britton. Thank you, Mike. Or Britton? Yeah, am I saying that right? Yeah, I think, yeah. Dave, do you have any ideas of who could play Sandy as the Judith lookalike? Oh, great question. I'm not sure. But when you cast, you have a bunch of photos of Sandy Johnson, which, by the way, that's why I called her Sandy, was because it was to honor the actual actress that played Judith Myers, which I had the wonderful opportunity. Not many people can say this, although everybody at the 40th anniversary convention, I'm sure can. But I had the wonderful opportunity of actually speaking with Sandy at the 40th anniversary convention. She was there. And I believe it was her first convention she's ever been to. And it was like, oh my God, the Judith Myers is there. Like, holy shit. Like, that's amazing. She's older now, obviously. I think she's close to 70. But she's beautiful and has a great smile and she's magnetic. And her husband is a really cool looking guy. He's got this long white beard. He kind of looks like Santa Claus a bit. I wanted to do an on-camera interview with her, but there were so many people, as you can imagine, lining up to see the Judith Myers, which has never happened before, that I just didn't have the time. So maybe I'll run into her again, or maybe I could get in touch with her and maybe I could do an interview for my channel. Maybe she'd find that really cool. I'll have to reach out to her. I don't know how to reach out to her. But I know a few people that might know her or know how to reach out to her. So maybe I'll contact them. That would be kind of fun. But what you do is you have images of Sandy Johnson from that time, and she was very beautiful. There's no ifs, Amber, but she was hot. She wasn't a Playboy or in Playboy for nothing, right? So you have photos of her face at that age. And then you put out a casting call and your casting director makes it a point to audition and see people that look like her. And then once they find a bunch of people that they believe look like her, then I would be brought in, or the producer and myself would be brought in, and then we would take a look at them one by one and get a feel of the acting chops and the look, and see if we can find both and go like, oh my God, she looks like Sandy Johnson, or at least as much like Sandy Johnson that it's going to work. you know? So that's how that would be done. But who I would cast right now, I'm not entirely sure, to be honest with you. Chad Zorn, thank you, Chad. Brackett should repeat the Loomis Evil speech in your movie, either to the girls or to the live feed in the woods. Wasn't he the only one that heard it? Yes, he was. Which is why there would be a moment in the film where he does recite that. Yeah, exactly. Where, when, I'm not sure, but both really good ideas. Great ideas, Chad. Let's see here. Wayne Downey, thank you, Wayne. Much appreciated. Says, I like your Sheriff Brackett to the point that when he got stabbed, it gave me a Han Solo Force Awakens vibe. Yeah, and there were some people that were watching my concept that thought, I don't think I said this, and if I did, I didn't mean this, that the shape stabs Brackett and lifts him up in the air. I didn't mean that. He doesn't do that. I mean, that would be a very difficult thing to do from a sitting position and would look extremely silly, I think. He just stabs him. Brackett kind of goes, oh, like this, and kind of falls over or something to that effect. But yeah, I played around with whether or not I wanted to kill Brackett, but I didn't. I thought it felt like the right thing to do. As an older man, he had his moment. He didn't kill the shape, but he did put the shape on the ground. He had his knockout punch moment, but this was just showing that the shape was too strong, you know, and it shows that any character could go at any moment. Tommy might be next, right? Who knows? Dustin Pritchard says, the problem is then they wanted to have it Michael versus Laurie and needed them to meet again. What happens when he gets out? He seems not interested in Hunter specifically now that he will. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I agree with that. I agree, which is, I don't know what David Gordon Green and Danny McBride have written for the for Halloween kills. I'm not entirely sure. I really have no idea. But you're right. If he continues to just go on, well, I mean, in my film, he's not after Laurie. He's not. He started his rampage, but Laurie, Brackett, and Tommy are after him. And you're seeing it a lot through their perspective. But I get what you're saying. No, I do. Let me see here. Okay, just want to make sure I didn't miss any super chats. Okay, there's a couple more down here, I think. Oliver Mercer, thank you, Oliver. So what scene would you choose to film from your shape film concept as a fan film? Ooh. This would cost more, and the logistics would be really hard. I'd love to shoot the tracking shot. I think the tracking shot would be spectacular. What a wonderful concept video to shoot the tracking shot. I think that would be amazing. The other thing I'd love to do is I'd love to shoot the ending with with Sandy, the moment that Laurie realizes she has the epiphany, oh my God, I know what I need to do. I know where I need to do it. And I know I need to have this girl there. And so maybe right from the moment they go into the house and they discover Sandy in the closet and then shoot the scene where she's on the road with the fog and things like that, that would be cool. That would be a cool proof of concept as well, to shoot all that. Because those two things don't necessarily require rain. They would require some fog and some moonlight, but you can do moonlight. And fog you can do. The rain with the big rain towers, that's a lot of money, and that's a lot of work right there. But those two scenes I think you could do without it, because I don't think it was raining at that time in my concept. A lot of people saying yes to the other thing. Okay, let me see here. Mr. Scary says Dave hates Ray. I do, but I wasn't the one that killed him. Peanut butter on my penis. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, fucking son of a bitch. ACDC 113089 says Dave McRae, Cale Hainsley super chat. Great question. Oh, was there one here? We got a PC Pierce super chat. Thank you, PC. Says, was your emphasis on wind purposeful? From the massive fire to the subtle wind through Tommy's hair at the hospital? Absolutely. 100%. And again, these aren't like gale force winds. They're not, not like category 5, but it's windy. It's windy. An autumn storm has come through. It was there for a little bit, and then it's on its way out. And once the storm leaves, the temperature has changed to where to now we have fog. And so you're going through all these different weather conditions, but they're adding to the atmosphere of being able to utilize the shape, you know, in the ways that would do the character justice and to go out on a high note. And to see these people tracking down this enigma in this town where nobody is safe, with the wind blowing and the moonlight and the fog, is just, I mean, well, look at my concept poster. I mean, it's like that poster right there on your screen says it all. I was just like, I mean, imagine that. It's like, geez, this is intense. It's like, you know, fuck yeah. There was a super chat from, okay, I must have missed it because when the live feed reconnected, the super chats went away, and I did ask people to @ me again for the super chats. So let me see if Kale, Kale. Okay, if Kale can, I don't see a super chat from Kale. If Kale can @ me and highlight me, I will answer his question if it was a super chat. My apologies, the fucking technology. Let's see here. Juno 2000 says, what is the worst and overrated Halloween film you absolutely hate? The worst and overrated Halloween film I absolutely hate? Probably Halloween H2O. I think Halloween H2O is way overrated. I think it's a lot of people's favorite film because they look at it subjectively, because for a lot of people, especially if you're under the age of 35, it was the first Halloween movie you watched, or it was the first Halloween movie you saw in a movie theater. I think when it's placed up against the rest of the series, it doesn't age well. It doesn't look like a Halloween movie. It doesn't feel like a Halloween movie. The setting is in California. You know, it looks like Michael Myers walked onto the set of Dawson's Creek. To me, the only redeeming quality of the movie is Laurie's story. Laurie, for sure. But it's very dated. It looks like a late 90s horror movie. You know, and I just don't particularly, I don't loathe it like some people might. I can watch it, you know, for the nostalgia, because I worked at a movie theater when it came out and I saw it there. But I just don't think it's a good Halloween movie. So I would say that's probably the worst overrated Halloween movie. But absolutely hate it. I wouldn't say I absolutely hate it. I mean, Halloween 5 I absolutely hate. But it's one that I think is the worst and it's the worst overrated one, I think. Okay. Oh, Cale Hainsey says, I had a super chat for $5 in the last video. My question was, here it is. Cool. Okay. Was how do you feel about Halloween being handcuffed to Laurie, and what direction would you go if it went away from Laurie? It's a great question. I'm okay with it being handcuffed to Laurie because, like, here's a how do I answer this? Okay, so it is about them. I'm just trying to really think this through. Michael is the lack of motive. And again, when we say lack of motive, we mean lack of conscious reason. We mean that there is no prior history to the people that he murders. You can't just say, no, his motive is that he wanted to kill them. There's a motive. That's not what Dr. Loomis meant. That's not what I mean. That's not what people mean when they say that he has no motive. Okay? They mean that there is no prior history or relationship. There's nothing that would be perceived as a reason for him to kill Laurie Strode or go after her. You know? There's no prior history. They've never met before. So in principle, yeah, you should be able to make movies about anybody. But when you have movies, my cat just came in. When you have movies that don't follow a main protagonist, it can feel, because the problem is that then you ask your audience to rely and root for the killer, which can be hard to do. we can think the killer is cool. We can think the killer is awesome. But usually a horror series will follow the main protagonist. I mean, everybody found it weird when you went from A Nightmare on Elm Street 3 to 4. We found that fucking weird, and it was hard to get emotionally attached to this new character that we were being asked to get emotionally attached to, right? They killed everybody that we loved in Dream Warriors in the first act of Dream Master. Felt really weird, right? And then by 6, it's like, now 6 is a bad movie, but there's nobody in that movie where it's like, what the fuck are we, I don't get it. A lot of people don't like 2 for that reason as well, right? So it's tricky, which is why the 2018 film really just should have been the last movie. But if you're going to make another movie, that's why I approached my concept to end it with Laurie, because I think you can make one more movie of having Laurie there, but the shape isn't following Laurie per se. The Laurie is following, like, you can kind of still do it. But it gets tricky. It gets tricky the more you go on. Because then when you kill Laurie, you either develop characters to pass the torch on to, which is, I think, maybe what they're trying to do. Actually, I don't think they're trying to do that. I think Halloween Ends will end Halloween as we know it. So I don't even think that after Halloween Ends, you're necessarily going to get Halloween films with Karen and Allison. Or Allison. I don't even think that that's what they're doing. So it's a very tricky thing. It's a great question. But that's why I made my concept the final thing. And it's Laurie. It really at the end of the day, whether the, part 2 exists or not, whether Resurrection exists or not, whether H2O exists or not, it's really always been Laurie and Michael. Whether they're brothers and sister or not, it's really about them. You don't need them to be related to have it be about them. So that's why I think it should end with them. And it should just end with them. Exactly what I did with the concept. And then if you want to reboot it and start a different path and remake the movie, but design it in a way that's not so reliant on what you did, okay, fair. Because then you're not, handcuffed, as you said, to all those things. But right now, it's so difficult. As you see, they're not related, but yet he's after her. But there's no motive. But yet he's out. You can see it's still a hard thing to do because of what the first movie did, right? It's got to end with them, which is why I'm surprised they're doing 2 more. Like, what the fuck are you going to do? I think they're going to open it up. I think we're going to see the shape beyond Haddonfield. That's my prediction. Okay, here, let me see. Let me go back here. I don't want to miss any super chats. Okay, cool. All right. Third Man says, Halloween 2018 lacked a great suspenseful chase scene. Hopefully the sequels and your concept sequel has one. Well, my concept sequel does have one. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I mean. Like when you're, oh yeah, it absolutely would. Like when I said that there would be classic Michael Myers moments in my concept, that's what I'm talking about. Like there would be a great moment in there where maybe he's going across a yard into a house, following a girl or even a guy or shit like that. And then we cut to, Laurie and Tommy and Brackett hot on his heels and shit. Oh yeah, absolutely. Like this, if I ever had a chance to do that movie, it'd be it's obviously to get it from my head to the actual screen. That's a whole different thing. But the audio, that's why sometimes it's best to do it in audio form because you can picture it in your own mind. And nobody pictures shitty things, right? It's not like you're going to picture a bad movie. So as long as I'm descriptive enough and really lay it out there, yeah, I'm going to think about doing that. I don't really have the time to do it now, but I'm going to think about doing that. Maybe it'll be ready for next year or something. Who knows? That'd be a lot of fun to do. Okay. Oh, did another super chat just come in? Yeah, it did. Mike Britton, thanks, Mike. Would we as an audience still be scared if other scary things happen in Haddonfield? Can an anthology work this time? Well, if it's an anthology, it's got to be away from Haddonfield. It has to be. Like I said, one of the things but you can connect it to the Haddonfield and Halloween universe, right? So what about old Charlie Bowles in Russellville? There you go. Charlie Bowles could be the next great slasher, and we don't even know it. Charlie Bowles could be the next great slasher, and we don't even know it yet. That's what I'm talking about. Old Charlie Bowles, man. What about Mr. Riddle? Mr. fucking Riddle. What about him? Laurie didn't think that he was, or Annie didn't think that Laurie, sorry, let me try that again. Annie didn't say, it was probably Mr. Riddle, Laurie, or whatever, she said, for nothing. Clearly there's something weird or freaky and funky about that old man, right? There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Let's see here. Metaluna Zombie. Love Danielle Harris. Get her away from this continuity. They are trying to get away from the track of sequels. Listen, Danielle Harris has a great following. And she definitely was done injustice for Halloween 6. Yeah, I agree with that. But it was 24 years ago now. 25 years ago when they were shooting it. It's over. Or actually, yeah, about that. It's done. Danielle Harris cannot come back as Jamie Lloyd. Let it go. And I don't think Danielle Harris is really serious about it. I think she puts the feelers out there because she knows that the fans can drive certain things. But I don't think she really believes that she's going to be asked. And I think it gets more fan traction than it does serious traction. I don't think anybody's taking it seriously. I think the fans see a tweet and they're like, oh my God, yeah, that'd be good. And they start talking about it. But, we got to go beyond our sheltered world of Halloween fandom. Everybody out here, including the big ups in the studios making these movies, don't give a fuck. They're like, no, that makes no fucking sense. That makes no sense. And I don't think they're going to do that. Now, maybe they will. But right now, I just don't see it has any traction whatsoever. Pat Bro says, Danielle Harris is in the new Tarantino film. Yes, I hear that. I'm going to see it this weekend. Frank Riker says, Dave, would you sell your concept to a studio for big bucks with the threat of them changing or doing independently and making it, keeping its integrity? Well, I would pull the Rocky route. Oh yeah, 100%. If Blumhouse came to me and said, Mr. McRae, we love this. We want to buy this from you. I would say, okay. Then you allow me to direct it. No, we don't want to do that. We want a more seasoned, polished director. I would say, okay. Who do you have in mind? We don't know. Okay. Then come back to me when you do know. And then if they came back to me and they said, we were thinking of, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, we were thinking of this person or that person. Depending on who it was, I might be like, okay. All right. How much are you looking to, maybe I have a script and they want to buy it from me, right? I don't know. It would depend. But my first thing would be, no, I want to direct the movie. And then if they say, okay, well, we were thinking of getting that guy that did Motorhome Massacre to do it, or we were thinking of getting this guy here. I'd be like, who is he? Okay, well, no, I don't know who he is. Why don't you just hire me to do it? I would do my best to negotiate me doing it, 100%. But that would be extremely difficult to do. There's a lot of factors and variables that come into that. I wouldn't just sell it. No, we'll give you $100,000 for it. No, I would have stipulations. Yeah, before I were to sell it. If I were to sell it, I would want to make sure that it was in competent hands and that I was going to, okay, this scene has to be in there. This scene has to be in there. And the ending has to be like this. Like what Frank Darabont was a seasoned director, had done The Shawshank Redemption, The Green Mile. But he said, I'm not going to make this movie unless The Mist ends this way. Because the studios didn't want it to end that way. And he said, okay, then I'm not going to make the movie. Now, he's Frank Darabont. Okay, little bit different. But that's what I would say. I would say, okay, well then, but the ending's got to be like this. It's fun to speculate, isn't it? Christian Kyle says, if the rumors are true about Paul Rudd being asked to replace Tommy Doyle, then I'm nervous that Blumhouse and company will do. I really don't think they're true. I really don't. I really don't. I really don't. And if they are, then Blumhouse needs a smack in the face. Because Paul Rudd? No. Go after Brian Andrews. Tell him to shave, cut his hair, get on a treadmill for a week, and there you go. And you don't have to spend $5 million to get him. You can pay Brian Andrews $115,000 and he'd do it in a heartbeat. Nick for the super chat. Thank you, Nick. The rain could add more suspense when Myers does his slow head tilt engulfed in flames on the cop car, and rain could come back to stop the fire. Possibly. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, for sure. A lot of people tend to really love that moment, that scene that I painted at the end of my concept where Myers sits up in flames and turns. That would be iconic. That would be genuinely iconic. Myers on top of the roof of the police car, sitting up in flames, right? Like it's classic Myers. Like just sits up like this and turns his head like this and looks at Laurie, and you can see his mask within the flames, and Laurie is lying there with gasoline all over, and you can see the glow of flames on Laurie's face, and maybe you hear dun, 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 and it's like, oh my God, like yes, we saw him in flames at the end of the first movie. Oh, sorry, at the end of Halloween 2. But he was coming out of the back room, and he was very much like, he didn't, but this is almost like the flames are having no effect on him. They are, and they do, because eventually when he gets to the top of the stairs and Laurie takes out the knife and, that's it. But it's that sit up where it's like, oh shit, how can he just fucking sit up and take it and do the turn? It's like, oh, and I can just pitch. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. I'm getting fucking goosebumps talking about it right now. And a lot of people love that. A lot of people really like that idea. So I'm glad everybody saw that. And then with Sandy, the Judith lookalike, right? She's at the top looking over, and the flames, the glow is on her face. And I just have this image. I wish I could draw, because I have this image in my head of Sandy, Judith, looking over, and she's like that, and it's that moment where the audience gets so lost. It's like Judith looking over the balcony. That's what's so wonderful, is that in some metaphysical, symbolic way, Judith and Laurie take down the shape, even though it's not Judith, so great. So great. Let's see here. Oh, a bunch of super chats came in. You guys are amazing. Grave Warmer, that image is awesome. Make it a legit poster. Wouldn't it be great? If I could draw, I would. Now, my buddy Bruce, who you guys know, he's a visual artist, so maybe I'll get him to do it. But I've also, 268 people watching. Awesome. I also put out on my social media that I want you guys, for the visual artists, I want you guys to draw your favorite scene or moment from my concept and send it to me. You can send it to me via Instagram. You can send it to me via my Facebook page. You can send it to me via Twitter. It's all on the, my links are all down below. And draw, and you can color it. You can not color it. You can paint it. You can draw it with pen, pencil. If you're a professional and you got all the tools, knock yourselves out. And what I'm going to do is, over the next while, there's no deadline. Over the next bit, I'm going to collect as many as I can, and then I'm going to do a video where I upload a video and I show them off. So I want you guys to do that. I think that'll be a lot of fun. And I will give you credit, absolutely. So, let me see here. Evan Rogers, super chat. Oh, thank you, Evan. Would you be opposed to cameos by old cast members as new characters or throwaway people? Are you talking about in the actual Halloween movies or in my concept? You don't have to give me another super chat. Just put an @Dave McRae so my name is highlighted, and I'll see it. Frank Riker, thank you, Frank. What is the symbolism of fire with Michael Myers? It's like the same with Frankenstein's monster. Well, I mean, that was one thing that people said. They said, okay, so you're having him burn again. But it works because of where it's happening. It works because of the catalyst that drove to that climactic moment. Remember, Although he burned at the end of part 2 in 1981, that movie is not canon in this timeline. Although he burned at the end of Resurrection, that movie is not canon in this timeline. So in theory, technically, he's only been in fire once, and he didn't even burn. He got out somehow, and that was Laurie's house. But this is the Myers house, right? And if what Dr. Loomis says is true, right, about how the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes, there's a lot of spirituality around the enigma of Michael Myers and what kind of force is driving him. And of course, fire and hell and the devil and this kind of stuff. And that's not to say that that the movie is intentionally has a religious connotation to it. That's not what I'm saying. But if you are a religious person and you buy into that part of his character, perhaps you could see that side of it if you want. Right? That's the great thing about movies where there's something there for everybody, but that wasn't my intention necessarily. But fire definitely plays into the idea of evil, right? It's evil, and evil must burn at the hands of its own, sort of like it's eating itself, Let me see here. Okay, so the super chat was from Evan Rogers, Cameo. Okay, and Evan Rogers, did you put an @ Evan yet? Maybe he did. Maybe you did. Yes, there he is. Oh, there you go. Oh, no, I lost you. Don't worry. I'll get you again. There you are, buddy. Evan Rogers, I guess I would like to hear both. Oh, okay, well, okay, so your original question for Super Chat was, would you post the cameos by old cast members? Well, I would say it depends. And I'm leaning towards no on both fronts because it would be too distracting for me. Maybe not for you, but for me. And you asked my opinion. I would be okay, and I said this before on a live stream, I would be okay with John Carpenter having a cameo as like a convenience store clerk or something, right? And Allison and Karen walk into a store to get, I don't know, a pack of gum or chips or something. And John Carpenter is there. And he's got like 1 or 2 lines. His scene is like a minute long. I'm okay with that because he's John Carpenter. He's a director. He's not necessarily distracting. It's like seeing Stan Lee in a cameo or something, right? But to have Charles Cypress or Kyle Richards or Brian Andrews or, in the movies as not themselves, it would be so distracting to me, and I just wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that, especially if it's in a timeline that those characters exist. It's like, well, why aren't they just being themselves? And I don't want Danielle Harris in there because she's too identified with Jamie Lloyd. And to me, it would be just weird seeing her as some other character in a Halloween movie with Jamie Lee Curtis, but not Jamie Lloyd. Not that Jamie Lloyd. It'd just be weird to me. It'd be weird. I think fans just, you can't have your cake and eat it too, man. You just can't. Okay, let's see here. It's Aiden says, Brian Andrews recently posted his Facebook. I hear some people are looking for an actor to play Tommy Doyle. Well, let me submit an old headshot. Great. I should reach out to Brian Andrews and see maybe if he wants to come on. That'd be a lot of fun to do. I don't know if he would, but I would be totally down with interviewing him. Maybe he's listened to my concept. I don't know. Maybe he has. I doubt it. I don't know what he's doing. I didn't get a chance to speak with him at the 40th anniversary convention because he was too busy, as you can imagine. Both Sandy Johnson and Brian Andrews had quite the lineups because obviously they had never been. And I was so focused on trying to get footage of so many things, right? And then, of course, I had to leave because I had some voice work that I was doing back in Hollywood, and then I had to come back to the convention, and I was in and out. And it was crazy. It was fucking crazy. But I was able to get some people, which is good, like Bud. Bud's an interesting dude. Super chat from Howard D. Thank you, Howard. You are awesome. Could Charlie Bowles be afflicted by the same evil that got Michael? Maybe, but it depends on what your definition of that is. You see, I don't think we can't ever know. For Michael Myers to truly carry on, in my opinion, the enigma and the mystery and mystique, you and I can have live chats like this and we can debate about it and talk about it, and maybe we come to our own conclusion in our own mind that is the most likely. But for Michael to preserve the integrity of the character and of the boogeyman, we must never truly know what he was or what was driving him. Again, he is a person, but what that other side to him was and how it was able to make him do the things that he did. We must never know that, which again is why at the end of my concept, it wasn't by accident that I ended with Dr. Loomis's quote, "You think you fooled them, haven't you, Michael? But not me." It's there to plant the seed of doubt. We don't actually see Michael come back. We don't see his shadow. We don't hear breathing. I think it's so important that when you end the series, you end it like that. You don't end it in such a clean, like, have the balls to do it. Serve the story. Because so far everybody thinks, at least most people, really like what I did. Because I think you still, by planting the philosophical seed of doubt, you still preserve the integrity of the boogeyman, because you still say, even though it feels complete. It's a very tricky thing to do, but I want the seed of doubt to be there. I want people to wonder if he's really dead. I want people to kind of go, oh, what a weird line to end this movie with, right? So the point I'm making here is that if Charlie Bowles is evil and he's a murderer, well, then we should just know that he's evil. There should be, maybe there's comparisons to Michael and the fact of that he doesn't speak, or I don't know, but we should never know then why he's doing what he's doing, but we should never know what that why is. We can't know the why, guys. We can't know the why. It's a dichotomy, and I understand that, but we can't know the why. It's one of the reasons why Michael is more popular than Jason and Freddy right now. Anyway, is because of the enigma. You remove that, you strip it away, he becomes like everybody else. And then you can paint him in corners and pin him, and we don't want to do that. Let's see. Chuck Medley says, I am honestly okay with the idea of Michael dying because in a way, yeah, he lost, but he still won because he has made Laurie's life a living nightmare. She could never just live. She was just breathing. You're talking about the movies, right? But of course it works well with my concept as well. Yeah, absolutely. Like, Michael dies at the end of my concept. Really. I mean, that is what it is. That's the intention. But the evil inside him, whatever it was, no idea. We can't quantify it. We can't measure it. We have no idea what the hell it is. Whatever that is will live on. And that is really, at the end of the day, what it's all about. There will always be another boogeyman, but Michael's story has to end somewhere. Halloween's got to end somewhere, so it preserves the integrity of the story. If you want to go off and make other movies with him, okay, but Laurie's story's got to end somewhere. And that's what I like when you say but see, here's the thing too, guys, that you have to remember. It's so difficult to compare the original Halloween and all of the philosophical and literal and mystical and magical and all that shit that John Carpenter implemented in the original Halloween. It's so hard to take that and try to have it make sense in the later sequels because it never was supposed to have a sequel. So you spend all this time in the sequels doing things and then watching that movie and trying to justify it in your own mind, and you can't do that. Halloween was its own movie. So it was written in a way that there was no more. So the sequels kind of try to make it seem like there was, and they'll write things that make you watch the first movie and you go, oh, I guess that's what it means. But it doesn't. And it's really difficult to do. It's really hard to do. It's almost a never-ending circle. To be able to actually find things in the sequels that you can point to the first movie and really have it make sense. Because I can strip it and tear it away as easily as you can put it up. And it's hard. But it's only because it was a complete story. It's very difficult. It's fascinating to talk with you guys about this shit. Frank Reiger, Super Chat. Thanks, Frank. Any chance of a producer's cut of your concept? We'll see. Maybe a Blu-ray edition with special features. The Film Addict, super chat. Thank you, buddy. Much appreciated. Which Carpenter film do you want to see as a sequel remake for? Sequels are unnecessary, but I'm just asking for fun. I think, well, they were supposed to be doing this. I think Escape from New York would be fun to see. I think that would be fun to see. Yeah, that'd be fun. Let's see here. Ba-da-da-da. Evan Rogers, super chat. Thank you, Evan. I can see your view. I ask because some people have asked for stuff like Tobey Maguire cameoing in the MCU Spider-Man film as a pizza guy. Well, that would be okay because Tobey Maguire doesn't exist in the timeline. Like, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man doesn't exist in the timeline. Like, yeah, like it's, and Tobey Maguire, it's quite the dichotomy. Like, because then you could say, well, then you just get Danielle Harris to be in the how. Like, I would be okay with Danielle Harris being. I'd have to think about this more. I'd probably be okay with Danielle Harris being in the new Halloween film as like maybe a convenience store clerk or somebody at a shop that's there for a minute or two. I might be able to be okay with that. But she can't be there. She can't be a main player. Way too distracting. And like the same with Tobey Maguire. Way too distracting. Pizza delivery guy, yeah, maybe you can get away with that because he doesn't exist in this timeline. It's fascinating, though. It's all personal, really, at the end of the day. Because some people, they would love to see Danielle Harris back as Jamie Lloyd. Okay, not that Jamie Lloyd, but this Jamie Lloyd. It's like, well, why do you want her back then? She's not the same Jamie Lloyd. No, but she could be a daughter of Jamie Lee Curtis, and she's Jamie Lloyd. Yeah, but she's not that Jamie Lloyd. Yeah, but she's still Jamie Lloyd. Yeah, but she's not that Jamie Lloyd. Anyway, I don't understand it. But hey, a lot of people would love to see it. I couldn't care less. Nathan Oswald says, release the Snyder cut of The Shape. Maybe I will. Maybe I will. All right, we'll go to 10:30 tonight. We'll go to 10:30. Jurassic Productions, thank you, Jurassic, for the super chat. Says, Dave McRae, have you seen my art on Facebook? I think I have. I'm not sure. Let me go back and I will definitely take a look and let you know. I may have. I haven't responded to everybody yet. Steve McCoy says Danielle Harris wouldn't be satisfied with a brief cameo. No, you're right. She wouldn't be. She wouldn't be. Nope, I agree. Bobby Hall says, so you'd be okay with Paul Rudd, pizza guy cameo? No, because Paul Rudd is too recognized. He's too, I know you're just kind of being fun, but Paul Rudd would be, it's too, I know what I want to say, and I know how to intellectualize it, but because I'm doing a live stream, it's hard for me to kind of compartmentalize my thoughts. I'd have to attack this in like a video, and then that way I can edit it and post it for people to kind of see. It's tricky to do, but I get what you're saying. It's because there's some people that would be okay under certain circumstances, and then other people that wouldn't be okay under those circumstances, and it all depends on, it's a tricky thing. Let's see. Stone Cold says, Dave, what do you think Ben Tramer is doing in your timeline? I don't know. A person asked that question earlier about Ben Tramer and whether or not I should have him in The Shape, that if I were to go back and actually do a full-fledged cinematic audio kind of narrative of The Shape where it's just maybe just pictures and images, if I would include Ben Tramer. And I don't know. I don't think I would. Because I think it becomes too distracting the more you start bringing characters in. I don't think I would change much in terms of bringing the OGs back. If I was to do an audio form only and a very cinematic, almost like you're listening to an audiobook. And as a voice actor, I actually don't do audiobooks. I've never done an audiobook in my life because it's the tedious nature for which audiobooks are. I do network promos and movie trailers and TV commercials and radio commercials and all that kind of stuff, narration, animation. But audiobooks, I tip my hat to the voice actors that do them. It is tedious. It is long. It's a thing that I just have no interest in doing. However, this is my own personal thing. So, and I'm creating a cinematic version of it and doing all the sound effects and music and all that shit. So I probably would have a lot of fun. The process would probably be a lot of fun. But I just think it would be too convoluted to have all these characters coming back. I think I would probably just stick with Tommy and Brackett, and although, because I would have more time, I would make Allison and Karen, for those of you that are big Allison and Karen fans and thought that they were underutilized in my concept, I would have more scenes to give them more meat. But they would still be the same. They wouldn't be really more developed than they were in the 2018 film. As I said at the top of the stream, I didn't find them that interesting enough. I didn't find them compelling enough. I didn't really care about them to want to develop them further. So they would just remain the same level. They would be interesting. They would be there. They'd be part of the action, but they wouldn't necessarily be part of the overall fundamental bigger picture. Do you know what I mean? Like Sandy is. Da, 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 da. Let's see here. Da, da, da. William Goldschmidt says, what's your favorite aspect of Halloween 78? Music, cinematography, script, etc. I would say, it's a combination of all that. The music, the cinematography, the use of light and shadow, and the use of just the low key sort of presentation of the shape, a lot of it. And it's not a perfect film. I mean, it's dated now. But it is the simplicity of that movie is the charm of that movie. It's a great film. It's a great film. But I would say all of the above for sure. Okay, did I miss a super chat? Dope Fiend Willie. Love it. Dope Fiend Willie. Hey Dave, the world's greatest detective versus the world's worst serial killer with Christopher Nolan writing and directing it. Is that what Christopher Nolan's film is with Robert Pattinson? Or I'm not sure. You made a statement. Did news just drop that, or has there been, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Expand on it a little more. Hey Dave, have you seen Michael? Oh, he's following up with that. Okay. I assume that you're talking about the Christopher Nolan movie that where he's cast Robert Pattinson. Dope Fiend Willie says, hey Dave, have you seen Michael versus Jason Evil Emerges yet? If so, what'd you think? I saw bits and pieces of it. I didn't watch it from start to finish. I thought it was very well put together. Obviously, there were some parts where I thought it was a little overexposed because obviously they're using available lighting, and then when they get the raw footage into the video editing software, they're adding filters to it to make it look certain thing, in a certain sort of cinematic way. So there are certain shots that look a little blown out, but that's what happens when you're shooting an independent little, film where you don't necessarily have a lot of lighting and things at your disposal. But I thought it was very well put together and it was a lot of fun, and Jason and Michael look great. And so kudos to the effort. It was great. Yeah. But I didn't watch it from start to finish, but I watched sort of some bits and pieces to garner sort of the idea. And I thought it was fun. I thought it was really good. Josh McKenna says, do you like Season of the Witch or do you focus mainly on Michael Myers films? I like Season of the Witch. I do. I would actually like to see them remake Season of the Witch and make it with a bigger budget, because one of the things that the concept of Season of the Witch that I really like is I like the idea of this, like it's everywhere, like it's happening across the country, maybe even the world. But because Season of the Witch was a low budget independent film, and I say low budget, I think it was a couple $1 million, maybe $1.5 million or something, $2 million maybe. I didn't get the sense that I understood that they were shooting, and it was all shot in California, but they were trying to tell you, oh, here's in Washington, this is in Arizona, this is in New York, this is here, there, whatever, right? But I didn't really get a sense that it was that the scope and the magnitude of this. And I think it would be cool to remake that movie today and really make it feel like, oh shit, this could happen across the country. I would like to see a remake of Season of the Witch. I think that would be cool. Yeah. I think that would be cool. All right, 8 more minutes. 8 more minutes. Let's see here. Crystal Lake Counselor says, Dave, in your film, does Michael and Laurie die before November 1st? What is the time frame of your film? That's really good. I would probably say no. I would probably say that it probably happens somewhere at like, 3 or 4 in the morning. So it's probably November 1st. But keep in mind that you would have naturally gone into November 1st in the original Halloween 2, 1981 as well. I mean, I would imagine that when Dr. Loomis says, it's time, Michael, and, it's probably, I would imagine it's probably 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. But notice that my film is called The Shape, not called Halloween. So, but it definitely begins Halloween night. It probably begins at like 10:30 at night or something like that, and then carries over to like 3 or 4 in the morning. So the Halloween it earns the title of a Halloween film. Let's just say that. But that's probably about where I would stick it. A couple more super chats. Mark Williams, thank you, Mark. Hey, Dave, have you worked for Blumhouse Marketing in the past? Hearing your voice for Halloween TV spot would be great. Yes, I did a Get Out spot for them. That's, I think, the only thing they did. Get Out, right? Yeah, I think they did. I did a Get Out spot for them, which I need to get. I have it, and it was one spot I did for Get Out, and I did a spot for it as well, but that's Warner Brothers. That's Warner Brothers. I would love to again. I think that would be fun. They generally, because they're based in Hollywood though, like they generally will have the voice actors there do it. This was, I forget if this was Get Out, if it was an online spot. It was outsourced. Because obviously the marketing campaign, obviously they'll have trailers and spots in Spanish. They'll have trailers and spots in French. They'll have trailers and spots, in English. Over in the UK, it might be a different run of VO actors there. It's a big thing. And so, but I haven't done anything more for them. I've worked for Disney a couple of times. I did some trailers for Inside Out and Big Hero 6 and Lego Batman, which is Warner Brothers, I think. So, but it's all like, there's many different fractions of people doing shit. It's much bigger than it seems. So, but I would love to answer your question. If Blumhouse, it's their marketing department, which is outsourced to this, it's a whole thing. But yes, I would love to do that again. I think that would be fun to do. And as soon as I find the Get Out spot, I will upload it for you guys, because I do have it. It's in my file, in my folder somewhere. I just haven't posted it. My God, you guys are just ripping in here. Turbo Man, what's your favorite Rob Zombie Halloween? I don't have one. Andrew Stay says, do you think James Jude Courtney will be returning in the next sequel? Yes, in both. Filthy Dan, at Dave McRae, is there a chance that you and Wes Hightower will be collaborating on a video in the near future? I'd be down for that. Yeah, I'd be down for that. If Wes is down for that, I will be down for that. 100%. Chad Zorn, super chat. Thank you, Chad. Says, can you make a video predicting what story Blumhouse actually uses? We need something to lower our expectations since yours was so good. Okay, well, I don't know, because usually I like to get a bit of details, even if I can get small details. Like, I don't know if this is true or not, but I've been credited as being the first to predict that Halloween 2 was going to be axed. I have no idea whether that's true. That is something that a lot of people online said. But I was able to come to that conclusion because of a lot of things that were being said that a lot of people were not talking about. And there were things that were in the press release that I honed in on that nobody was talking about when they announced Jamie Lee Curtis coming back. And it was very easy to me. I said, oh, they're not going. And people called me crazy. They're like, yeah, you're crazy. You know what I'm talking about? I said, oh, sorry. Okay. All right. We'll see. And sure enough, it happened. So I like to have a little bit of information, maybe a press release, maybe a log line, a synopsis, something that doesn't tell me a lot, because obviously that's cheating, but something that just a little bit of something. Because sometimes it's all in the cinematic political rhetoric, as I like to call it, all in how the words are sort of placed. And it doesn't mean I'm right. I could be dead wrong. But right now, we don't have anything but just 2 titles. And the 2 titles are so like, I love the titles, but they could mean anything. Really, it doesn't give us anything. Although I have this feeling that they're going to go beyond Haddonfield. I have no evidence of that. I have nobody telling me that. I just instinctually feel that maybe there's going to be a manhunt. And it's going to go beyond Haddonfield. I don't mean to like Chicago, but maybe to Russellville to visit old Charlie Bowles or something. I don't know. I just have that feeling. Okay, let's see here. Noah Haney at Dave McRae, Star Wars. Okay. I'm not sure what you mean. Sergio Ribeiro, am I saying that right? At Dave McRae, how would you feel if Quentin Tarantino wrote a Halloween film? Quentin Tarantino is a little too eccentric for me and too artsy-fartsy for me, so I don't know how I would like his... Like, I don't even know how I'm going to like his Star Trek movie, if that's still even a thing. So, I don't know. I'll see what his Star Trek movie is like, and then we'll see how I feel after that. Brooks Moore says, Dave, what's your favorite remake of all time? Oh, remake of all time. That's hard to say. Maybe Scarface? Maybe, I'd have to think about that. I'm not sure. Off the top of my head, I'll say Scarface, but I'm not entirely sure. Let's see here. The J Hookmaster says, if there is one change you want to make to your idea, what would it be? One change that I would make to my idea. Just to flesh things out. Because right now it's a blueprint, right? And I've had some people say, oh, but what about, like, as I said, Karen and Allison, we didn't get a lot with them. No, you're right. I didn't talk a lot about them. But if I was actually to flesh it out, there would probably be more scenes that you do get them, right? And more things with Tommy as well. So it's just to do that kind of stuff, just to flesh it out so the characters feel utilized appropriately. But make no mistake about it, this is a Laurie Brackett, Tommy Doyle film. And they're on the hunt for the Shape in Haddonfield on this rampage amongst the storm and the rain and the wind. And then Sandy, unbeknownst to her, this 16-year-old girl, this girl that has just survived somehow, it's fate, speaks to Laurie without speaking, and without her, there may not have been an end. So it's almost like, wow, Judith in some sort of spiritual way, and I don't mean spiritual in the cheesy sense now, okay? I'm just talking about symbolically, may have taken down the very person that killed her in a symbolic sort of way. If help to do that, right? It's really cool. Anyway, it's 10:30. What the hell? We'll go for a little bit longer. Let's see here. Was there a super chat I missed? Wayne Downey, just want to say great job on The Shape. Thank you, Wayne. And thank you for the super chat. You rock. You rock. William Goldschmidt. The Thing was a remake. Oh, yeah, that's right. The Thing. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Thing was great. Thing was a great remake. Didn't get the recognition it deserved in 1982 because of all the competition it was up against, but it was really good. It was really good. Travis Landenborough says, Dave, are you a fan of John Carpenter's The Fog? Oh, yeah, 100%. I've got a Saturday movie night on my channel. Go to my channel and scroll down to where all my Saturday movie nights are and watch my live commentary. Well, it's not live now, obviously, but it's a Patreon-only thing that I do live. But then once the live feed is done, I put it up on my channel for everybody to see. Well, it's a Patreon-only for level 2, 2 and 3. To be clear. But I give a live running commentary on The Fog. Oh yeah, it's probably my second or third favorite Carpenter film. And probably my second favorite Carpenter score. Love The Fog. Super chat to Anthony Landry. Thank you, Anthony. Very much appreciated. How much involvement do you believe that Malek Akkad has in the current iteration of the series? I certainly feel like Trancas has been just there and I think that's probably true. Look, I think Malek Akkad, if there's something that he doesn't want to happen, it doesn't happen. 100%. But I think he is, I think he is probably, yeah, I mean, he's there. He's a producer. He's there and he runs the ship now, so to speak, in terms of the rights with Halloween. But I think he probably has a pretty good working relationship with Jason Blum and the folks over at Universal and Miramax. And I think he probably just, puts it in their hands and then lets things unfold naturally. I don't think he's heavily involved. It's the same with John Carpenter. John Carpenter was not... It was not boots. He went to the set and he was there and he offered some suggestions, like the suggestion he did to not recreate the opening of his movie, which was a great suggestion. But beyond that, he gave some, what about this? What about that? But he wasn't there. He was off doing his own thing, To truly understand how involved producers are and what the difference is between a line producer, an executive producer, a showrunner, you got to know the differences there. What an executive producer does can be really heavily involved and can be not involved at all. It can be name only, so always take those things with a grain of salt. When somebody says so-and-so is producing this movie, well, okay, how involved are they? So I think Malika Akkad is probably lightly involved on some level. I don't think he's heavily involved. That'd be my guess. Mike Britton, thank you, Mike, says, Dave, can you do a video on your ideas for Ghostbusters 3? Do you feel we need another sequel? Well, I have done a few videos on my channel for Ghostbusters. I'm really looking forward to this. It's a pure nostalgia trip. I mean, let's be honest here. It's nostalgia. That's all it is. But I'm definitely looking forward to it. So when more information starts to come out about Ghostbusters 3, I will continue to talk about it. Mendel Goodman, thank you for the super chat. Do you have any plan in your future filming career? I'm continuing to work on short films. I have a short fan film that I am in development on right now called It's Me, Billy. It is a Black Christmas fan film that I'm in development on with my buddy Bruce, who's a filmmaker as well here in Toronto. And of course, Black Christmas is a Canadian movie, so we're Canadian, and we thought that might be a nice homage. And there are no Black Christmas fan films online. Just YouTube Black Christmas fan film, and I think there's one or two really sort of weak amateur films. There's nothing. So we want to do that. And so there is a Facebook page in the description called It's Me, Billy. It's the first one there. Click on that to like the page for updates, because we have an official poster coming very soon. So I think you'll like that. So we're in development. So that means the script is being written. We're trying to get, things in place. When we actually get into pre-production, I'm not sure yet, but I'm doing that. And I'm also finishing up a feature-length screenplay that I've been writing for years as well, based on true events from my second year of college, and it's a supernatural sort of paranormal film. So that is sort of where I'm at in terms of my filmmaking career. And then the voiceover career is just every day. I mean, I just finished doing a bunch of national TV ads for Staples, back to school stuff, and I just finished doing some spots for what's the name of GM, as well as Toyota, and I'm always doing shit with that stuff too. So that's my day-to-day job is the voice acting. So super chat here from Kristen Kyle. Thank you, Kristen. If you could change something about James Jude Courtney's portrayal of Michael, what would it be? I don't think I would change anything. I really don't. I think James Jude Courtney has knocked it out of the park. I really do. He was the best part of that movie, really, at the end of the day. I thought he was terrific. I would have to think more on it, but I really don't think there's anything that I would change. It's a great question. I don't think there was or is. Chad Zorn, thank you, Chad. Can you do Can you do a video on new Terminator film? I will when more stuff about the Terminator comes out. I like Terminator. I'm a fan of the first two movies for sure. I even didn't mind the third one. But I'm not a gigantic Terminator fan where I'm going to be talking about Terminator all the time. It's just not there. So, but once the new movie comes out, or once we get another trailer or something, I'll probably talk about it. Yeah, for sure. Okay, a couple more minutes. Take a couple here. Anthony Scarpula says, do you like Night of the Living Dead 1968? Yes, I do. Black and white, though. It's got to be black and white. One of my favorites. Bobby Hall says, Dave, should Laurie find out that Sartain killed Hawkins and also caused the bus crash? Sure. Yeah. Sure. I don't know how that would affect the rest of the narrative, but I don't see why not at this point. I just don't know their story. I don't know their story. I'm not sure. But I'm telling you, if they have a Judith Myers lookalike and Michael Myers and Laurie Strode burn in Judith's room at the end, I'm telling you, I want my residual check. Let's see here. The A button says, Dave McRae in Halloween 78, Linda died thinking her boyfriend was killing her. That's true. That's true. She did. If you think about it from that perspective, wow, what a way to go out. Bob saw something he really liked. Brooks Moore says, Dave, have you ever seen Body Bags? If so, what are your thoughts? I have that first story. I have not. No, but it's a Carpenter. It's one by him that I have to see. I have not seen it yet, though. Baltimore Media says, that Dave McRae, perfect example of letting things end is the Dark Knight trilogy. What a perfect ending to a trilogy. Yeah, exactly. Now, although The Dark Knight Rises is probably the weaker of the trilogy, I actually like Batman Begins the best. But you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Did I say Baltimore? I meant Ballator. Ballator Media. Ballator. I think I said Baltimore. Sorry about that, buddy. But you're absolutely right. You know, it's yeah. And they left it on a philosophical sort of note as well, right? You know what I'm saying? That's how you wrap up shit. You leave the audience wanting more, but you allow the audience to accept that the story has been completed. So the audience leaves feeling like I could go for more, but I feel satisfied because of the way the arc has been complete. And that's what I did with The Shape. That's what I did with my concept of The Shape. Was you definitely want more. Who doesn't want more Michael Myers? But you walk away going, wow, I really feel it. Tommy walking along the same path, standing, the house is burned to the ground, Judith and the layers there, speaking to Laurie, and oh my God, it has to happen in the bedroom. It has to happen in the bedroom. You know, all this stuff. And it feels really complete. And is it sad that Laurie died in my idea? Yeah, it is. But I think it's fate, and it's coming full circle. You know, and I think most even hardcore fans would feel satisfied with that, you know, and go, okay, that's done. Now, hey, if we want to do another Halloween film, we can, but that's done now. And that's what it's all. You got to complete it. You got to complete the arc. They're supposed to be professional storytellers. Yes, it's about money. I'm not naive, folks. Okay. All right. I get it, but end the story. Gil Suasian, am I saying that right? Probably not. I apologize. Thank you for the super chat, buddy. Much appreciated. Should Michael die with an H2O homage head chop? No. Michael should die like the way I had him die in The Shape. That's what I think. I don't think that's what they're going to do, personally, but that's what I would do. It's Complicated says, would you type up a script and sell copies if people were willing to buy it just to have it? I would love to have it to read. I don't know if I would do that. Typing up a script would be a long process. And if I'm not going to make money off of it, it would be like to do little short fan films is like, I can't make money off of It's Me, Billy, right? Because I don't own the IP. But to write up a short script on a fan film for It's Me, Billy doesn't take me very long. You know what I mean? Because fan film short scripts are, 20 pages, something like that, right? Doesn't take a lot. To write a feature-length script that I'm never going to make money off of, that I can't really, would be, I don't want to do that. But the audio thing, all the audio, because all the music is mine, right? All the sound effects are mine, right? You know what I mean? So that's different. It would just be more creatively. It would just be more fun to do, I think. That's how I feel about that. Chad Zoran, thank you. Do we know what original ending was to H-18? Yes, we do. You can look it up online. People will no doubt chime in here in the chat. Michael is basically left to bleed to death in the woods, but it ends not knowing what sort of happens. And Laurie, I believe it shoots him with a crossbow or something out on the front lawn. There's some sort of massive climactic moment out on the front lawn. You can look it up. The chat room will tell you absolutely as well. So something like that. Let's see here. Third man, Chad Zone he's talking at Chad Zone. Ryan Smith says, how do you feel about Michael only having 2 fingers and 1 hand? Halloween Kills and Ends. I think it was a ballsy move to do that, but I like it. I liked it. When they shot both his hands off, when I was watching the movie at the world premiere, I was like, oh yes. Are they going to actually kill him? Oh my God, this is awesome. And then they didn't. So I'm like, but I like it. I like it. As long as I don't fucking grow back, I'm okay. I'm okay with that. Did I miss a super chat? I don't think I did. And also I want to say, for those of you that stuck around through the initial stream with the hiccups with the audio and then the brain fart that OBS here had, really appreciate it, guys. Ordinarily this doesn't happen, but hey, technology, sometimes it works. I'm working off a computer that is incredibly powerful. I can render 4K on this computer and I have high-speed internet, and sometimes the software, it doesn't matter, right? Sometimes whatever happens, software can be finicky. Fucking pisses me off. Especially when you're live. That's what's so frustrating. When you're not live, it's like, well, whatever, it's not a big deal. But, when you're live, you're like, no. Gil Susacian, thank you again. Does Freddy versus Jason deserve a sequel? No sequel, no remake. I'm not a big fan of crossovers. I thought the movie was ass. I thought Freddy versus Jason was garbage. So no, I don't want. Not Halloween 5 garbage. It was always cool to see them come together, but it was some guy playing Jason for the first time. And although I'm not a big fan of Kane Hodder's portrayal of Jason, at least make it Kane Hodder. At least then we have some sort of nostalgia and history, and it's kind of cool to see them coming together. No, it was some guy. It was a Canadian guy, actually, I believe, who played him, and he played him great. But I wasn't a fan of that. But I appreciate your super chat nonetheless. Okay, and then I don't think I missed any. Nope, I don't think I did. All right, guys, that is going to do it for me here on this Friday, August the 2nd, 2019. I think you guys are awesome. Thank you once again for tuning in and talking Halloween and talking about my concept sequel idea. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I'm glad most of you understood the symbolism and why I made the creative choices I made at the end of the movie, if you will, with the character of Sandy. And a lot of you guys, like I said at the beginning of the stream, even caught on to that while it was happening. So I think that's really cool. I think that's awesome. You guys are smart and on point. So I'll think about maybe in the future doing more with this idea, and maybe I will flesh out a full-on 2-hour, almost cinematic audio book, real involved thing. That would be awesome to do, but we'll see. But that is going to do it for me. Thank you again for the super chats. It supports the channel and of course keeps these shows going, and you guys are awesome for it. And even if you did not, you're just supporting by being here and asking questions in the chat room. And if I did not get to your question, like I say all the time, it is nothing personal. It's just we got a lot of people watching, and sometimes it's hard to get to everybody as things are rolling by. But you guys are awesome. I hope you have an awesome weekend, and I will talk to you guys soon. All right. Oh, and by the way, tomorrow night over on the Horror Show's YouTube channel, The Horror Show with Cecil Laird, he's going to be interviewing me tomorrow night We're going to be talking about my fan film. We're going to be talking about my voiceover career. We're going to be talking Halloween. We're going to talk everything. That's tomorrow night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. Pacific on the Horror Show's YouTube channel. Don't forget, that's tomorrow night. So hopefully I'll see you guys there. So in the meantime, in the meantime and in between time, that's what happens when you're talking straight for 2.5 hours. I will talk to you guys soon. Alrighty. Cheers.